Guacamole scooter heads. I'm excited about this show. This is going to be a good one. I haven't made the show. I'm starting from beginning to end. I'm not piecing it together. But the topics, I'm going to talk. This is kind of clickbait. I'm putting this up first because I don't want to do like the news does, where they say a cure for cancer that can be found around the home. Watch us at 11. No, I'm not going to do that. But Ginger on Wheels, Scooter God. I might be promoting him from Scooter Star to Scooter God, because Ginger on Wheels and Chuck Temple of the Electric Scooter Guide, they might be more than Scooter Stars. Scooter Stars are Zero to Epic, Paul and Ramir, Jimmy Chang. There's a lot of guys. Ben Fox, I don't know if he's maybe in between there, like a patron saint of scooting or something. But Ginger on Wheels announced his favorite scooter for 2021. Do I agree with him? I don't, just because he's a great guy and I like him and his videos are awesome. We don't have to agree on every little thing, and that's okay. Number 2, where do scooters belong in society? I'm going to give a little bit of an opinion piece. And then number 3, we had promised last episode to talk about big box retailers selling scooters, and I dropped the ball. I don't know if I talked too much. I became too interested in my own words. I don't know what happened, but before I knew it, half an hour was up. I started to say that correctly, and half an hour. Nobody says that, a half an hour, but the correct way would be and half an hour, because it starts with an H, so it's an instead of a. And half an hour. I corrected myself from the correct way to make it the wrong way. I said and half an hour, and I quickly went to a half an hour. So, first, Ginger on Wheels.
From the Northwest, he rides the wolf. When it comes to speed, he's not a cringer. He's got a DIY van. I'm telling you, he's the man. Everybody, it's Ginger!
What did he select as the 2021, now this is just his opinion, favorite scooter? I'm going to tell you right now, and I'll tell you why I disagree, even though I have not ridden the scooter. He chose the VSET 10 Plus. And I know some folks are wondering, what's the difference between a 010 Plus and a VSET 10 Plus? Well, the way it was explained to me is that 0 would be Toyota and VSET would be Lexus, like Acura is to Honda, and so on down the line. It's the up model. GM has the Cadillac. I don't want to keep going because then it gets ridiculous, like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I was hungry. I thought I might have a hot dog or a hamburger or lasagna. You have to stop him or he'll just keep going on and on and on. And I don't want to do that. I'll do worse than that. So the VSET 10 Plus. Why do I disagree? I'll just tell you right up front. Tubes in the tires. I'll take his word for it. He rides way more scooters than I do. A bigger variety and different types of scooters. And he knows way more about scooters than I ever will. I'm kind of an opinion guy I own 5 scooters, but I get to go to different parts of the country and different parts of the world and ride different scooters. So my opinions on the variety of scooters of what's out there, a lot of it, or at least part of it, is based on what people tell me and respecting the opinions of people like Ginger on Wheels and the Electric Scooter Guide, not buying or taking the bait of the YouTube videos that say they're reviews, but they're actually commercials for the product. Don't be taken in by these shysters, okay? Fancy videos and probably polished because they probably have backing and money behind them. But there are people like Ginger who are just extremely talented. He's like a one-man show. I know he has somebody holding his camera once in a while or whatever, but he's, for the most part, a one-man show. And Electric Scooter Guide, they are the ultimate in, having a full-on team, really doing the research, documenting the numbers. Those are my go-to guys, really. Electric Scooter Guide and Ginger on Wheels. But guys like Jimmy Chang and other folks that are out there are awesome as well. Looking through some of the comments on Ginger on Wheels' newest video, which I advise you to watch it. It came out September 19th, and it's called My Favorite Scooter of 2021 VSET 10 Plus Impressions. One of the things that surprised me is people commenting that they didn't like the colors. I know that's just opinion, but black and yellow? How do you go wrong? I love everything that's black and yellow. And the first thing was it really caught my eye. What's the biggest competitor to the VSET 10 Plus? Other than its baby brother or baby sister, the 010 Plus. I would say it would have to be the Mantis SE Pro. But why do I not jump on the bandwagon? Or why am I initially in disagreement with Ginger on Wheels, Ryan? Is tubes in the tires. It's just it's got everything. It's got hydraulic brakes. It's got awesome shock absorption, and I'm taking his word for it that the ride is incredible and smooth and balanced. It's 80 pounds, so it's 21 pounds less than a Wolf Warrior. According to the Electric Scooter Guide, it gets in excess of 30-mile range, which is, they claim 50 to 70 or something crazy like that, but of course you're never going to get that unless you're going downhill and you weigh 80 pounds, which, hey, maybe that's you. But as far as the 10-inch wheel scooters, yeah, it may be one of the best. But I never like the idea that you can get a flat tire that's caused by nothing. You didn't run over a nail. You didn't run over some glass. It just happened because the tube gets pinched up inside the tire, rubs against the metal, and boom, you have a flat tire. And flat tires on scooters are just a hassle. They're just something I want to avoid. I looked at the Rev Rides page, and they said they won't guarantee the hydraulic brakes will be nut or zoom. And that's something I've had in the back of my mind that I really want to figure out and get people's opinions on, because I've looked in scooter forums and reviews on different scooters, and I really have no clue which one is better, nut, N-U-T-T, or zoom. I just don't know. I haven't been able to compare them myself. And all of the hydraulic brakes that I've ever ridden on scooters were awesome. Better than disc brakes that are actuated via cable, certainly. And also better than drum brakes. But there is a place for drum brakes. Oh, let's not start talking about brakes. I'll go over 30 minutes again. Drum brakes are completely sealed. So if you're riding through sand and loose dirt and gravel and stuff like I do a lot, and they're dependable. Drum brakes. There are the Toyota Tacoma, I believe, up until 2020 or 2019, still had disc brakes in the front and drum brakes in the rear. And they charge more than a Nissan Frontier and other comparable trucks, the Chevy Colorado and others. So do not diss the drum brakes. Don't let that dissuade you from buying a scooter. There certainly is a place for drum brakes in the world of scooters. So I just wanted to say that about Ginger on Wheels. Watch his video, and he has a link in the video to where you can go to his webpage. Again, I'm not monetized. I say that every time. I don't have any skin in the game, but he's a scooter god. he does this full time, as far as I know. It certainly seems like he does, and he's good at it. And when he says this gear is what I use, I know he's gone through at least 5, 6, 7, 8 iterations of helmets, gloves, knee pads, whatever they are. And these are the ones that he decided on. So if it's going to cost you exactly the same, not a penny more, and he's going to get a little taste tossed his way, then certainly go through his website. It's just a link. It's Linktree, tr.ee, Linktree/Ginger on Wheels. But you'll see it if you watch the video, and you should watch the video. It's impressive, as are all of his videos. Time to scooter. Topic number 2. Where do scooters belong in society? This is not a rant against, they call shared services or shared scooters or rental scooters. But if you listen to this podcast, if you've listened to the previous 40 episodes, you probably know I'm not a huge fan, because people that are inexperienced get on them, fall down, go boom, attract news agencies who give a completely distorted story of what happened. I think, in my mind, I've proved that over a few episodes. You may disagree, and that's cool. That's up to you. But that's my educated opinion, is that the news grossly distorts scooter news by painting only one side of the picture, by only measuring facts that are designed for rental scooters or that cover rental scooters, because they're big corporations and they have the facts at their disposal. So, but I do want to say that I am a proponent of individually owned scooters, and I kind of like this idea that's starting to gain some traction of renting scooters by the month. I think that's a good idea. Yeah, you may fall down a couple times the first couple days. You're practicing maneuvers or you're getting used to the brakes and that kind of thing. But by the time a month is up, you're probably going to want to buy your own scooter. Unless the idea is you're going to a different part of the country, and let's say you work for a company and they send you to New York City to attend conferences, and it's going to be a month-long stay, and you're in a hotel or Airbnb. Hey, take the scooter to and from your residence to your workplace for that month. I'm all for that. And I'm for rental scooters or shared scooters, in so much as people who haven't ridden scooters before get introduced to scooters and they say, wow, this is fun. That happens to some people. Unfortunately, some people get hurt, and it really distorts the whole picture of where scooters are in our society. Which brings me to my main point. Joe Biden has proposed, and I think partially it's been passed, this giant infrastructure plan. Do I think scooters should be everywhere, and these large corporations, these venture capitalists, getting tons of money and laying out scooters, and then people ride them and put them back, in a designated spot, and that way it gets controlled by the government and it's taxed and this and that kind of stuff? I do not. I think that too much emphasis for too many years has been placed on automobiles and buses. If we want a society that is not 100% green, but greener than it is now and makes a lot more sense, this Joe Biden infrastructure program needs to incorporate not just painted lines on streets where you are competing with cars, giant SUVs, 18-wheelers next to your bony little body shivering down the road, looking over your shoulder and looking in your little teeny mirror to see what's coming up behind you. Somebody probably that's texting on their telephone, or some truck driver who's all hopped up on pills to meet his destination in the required time after he got up at 2 o'clock in the morning from Hopping Toad, Iowa to drive to Berkeley, California with his load of Third Reich swizzle sticks. What we need are little, well, they don't have to be little, but I would say narrow strips of road that cut right through town, especially major metropolitan areas, that you don't have to stop at traffic lights and you're always worried about getting hurt. How about you just pop on a couple lane, narrow road structure that just gets right to the heart of downtown and passes everything up? It's going to be way more green. It's going to last further into the future than our inadequate roads. They're not even adequate for the cars that we have right now. So that's my opinion. Because it would be safer for everybody, it would be greener, and it would be better further on out into the future. Let's start de-emphasizing combustion automobiles and start emphasizing micromobility and PEVs. That's the same thing, right? Well, PEVs are what you're riding on. And micromobility includes everything. EUCs, electric units. I just rented this lips last week, and I'm still getting used to it. Electric unicycles, EUCs, e-bikes, bicycles. I mean, bicycles and Adidas are the two greenest options that we have, right? All right, so that is my opinion on where scooters belong in society. What I would like to see is people, scooter heads, buying their own scooters, staying on top of the maintenance, learning how to ride their scooter. Just like cars have a different feel and different brake and turning radius, and motorcycles and bicycles and everything, scooters are the same. So if you're riding the same vehicle every day, you are going to be more agile and less likely to bust your melon. Now it is time for Topic 3. Where do I buy a scoot that's right for me? It's time for Topic 3. Can I buy a scoot that's right for me at Costco, Target, Best Buy, Walmart, Sam's Club? Topic 3. Big box retailers are now starting to sell scooters. I shouldn't say just now, because they've been doing it for a while. I mean, you could walk into Walmart and buy razors and these different types of cheaper model scooters and electric scooters, but now they're kind of going big time. I walked into Costco, and one of the workers had the nerve to ask me if I wanted a box for my groceries. I'm like, geez, man, I'm just trying to pay for my stuff. Why is everybody so violent these days? I'm not going to box for my groceries. But seriously, once I went in, there was this younger guy pushing the cart around, and I kind of bumped into him. I had heard that they have scooters there. So I looked at him, and I just, you got to be, when you're older, you got to apologize a lot. Your faculties are not as sharp as they used to be. So I said, sorry about that. I was just looking for my wife. Wasn't really paying attention. And the guy goes, that's okay, man. He goes, I was doing the same thing. I'm looking for my wife. I was starting to get desperate. I have no idea where she is, and it was really crowded that day. So I said, I'll tell you what. Maybe we can help each other out. Tell me what your wife looks like. I'll help you look for her. He goes, well, she's 24. She's tall. She has long legs, and she's wearing these really tight white shorts and a halter top with no bra. And then he asked me, well, what does your wife look like? I said, it doesn't matter. Let's look for your wife first. I'm not in the habit of telling jokes on the Electric Scooter podcast, but it was weird was it the last episode or the one before? I retold the moth joke that Norm Macdonald told, but I put it into a little bit of a scooter context. And the day after I recorded that, he died. So I got to be careful. Maybe I should avoid making my own jokes. So Best Buy is going into micro-mobility. And some of the scooters that they're selling are not weird, unknown brands like we've seen in the past. They're selling Unagi, which I've talked in previous podcasts about. A very sleek, very well-designed scooter that, again, I haven't ridden, but I've considered buying one for travel purposes. So it's a little higher end, a little more expensive for the small size that you get, but they look cool. They're going to sell Segway, which is the 9-bot max. I've done a video or two on that. By the way, go to my Dagwood Streets YouTube channel if you want to see me just scooting in various locations. I'm almost always on the Wolf Warrior, sometimes on the Apollo Explorer, but mostly the Wolf Warrior. That's my main ride. So the Segway 9-bot max, I have a video where I scooted through Dunedin, which I at first thought was pronounced Dunedin, but while I was there, everyone was pronouncing it Dunedin. It's near the large cities of St. Petersburg in the Tampa area, Clearwater, Florida. In fact, I just finished it last night, so it's not even posted. But by the time you hear this, you'll see me riding the Segway 9-bot max over sand, deep sand, packed sand, trails, so regular dirt, grass, and of course asphalt and concrete. The Segway 9-bot max is among scooterhead circles the number one universally recommended scooter for first-time buyers for many reasons. Big one I always say is tires. You can tell tires for me is one of the most important parts of the scooter, and that's why the VSET 10 Plus, I can't go for that, no, just because I don't want to pinch flat. I believe Ginger when he says it's the best riding scooter. I believe him. I trust him. I'm sure it is. But I don't like pinch flats, and I don't like changing tires. So they're going to sell, Best Buy is going to sell Unagi, Segway, Bird, and something called a Super 73. I'll have to look that up. I have not heard of that one. I don't know what it is. So they're selling them mostly online, but there are certain stores in certain cities that are going to have them in the store where you can go in and buy it. Some of those cities include New York, Miami, Orlando, Tampa, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Austin, Texas, and just cities, more cities throughout Florida. You can also go to bestbuy.com. Again, I'm not supporting Best Buy. I'm not saying do it, and you'll find out later on in the podcast why. But they do have something at Best Buy called the Geek Squad. And if you pay $100, then you get a contract for a certain amount of time that if you have questions, they will help you with those questions. I suppose I don't have experience with them, but I've seen the cars that say Geek Squad parked out in the parking lot, and they'll assemble it for you. Come on, man. There's not much assembly to a scooter. E-bike, nah, not even an e-bike has much. So that's not worth $99. So anyway, be that as it may, some folks like to have that extra technical support. I mentioned Costco in my opening quote-unquote joke, if you want to call it that. There's 776 Costco warehouses worldwide. Of course, the vast majority are in the United States, but 237 of them are not. They're overseas. So no matter what country Costco is in, 65% of their merchandise is sourced locally, which is pretty cool. Some of the countries they have, our Scooterhead listeners that are not in America may be familiar with, because they're in Canada, China, Japan, Taiwan. In Taiwan, they're called Haoshi Duo. Probably in China, too. Haoshi Duo means a lot of good items. And I think that's a fitting name. They're also in Australia and the UK. Costco sells a scooter that, again, we need to talk about this. This needs to be a topic. It has a little seat on it. So is it a scooter or is it a tiny e-bike? It's called Phantom. It's the sit and go. Not to be confused with the Apollo Phantom. This one's a lot cheaper, and I might actually like it better than the Apollo Phantom, but that's a story for another time. And they have a little $50 non-electric scooter. It's a three-wheeler. And guess what? They also have the Unagi Model 1 E500, which in the United States sells for $900. And it comes in a variety of colors. So how does Costco, Walmart, if you've never been to Sam's Place or Sam's Club, it's kind of the Walmart version of a Costco, is they get customers to buy bulk items, and they can therefore sell the items cheaper. So if you want a wheelbarrow full of pretzels, well, the big box retailers, that's your place to go. A scooter? I'm not so sure. Their cost may be good, maybe low. But what is the return policy? You know, that's where it gets a little bit dicey. And also, do you want to buy your scooter from the guy who cuts your sirloin steaks or stocks mattresses or sets out the asparagus? Or do you want to buy your scooter from a person who works in a store that sells scooters and sees every kind of question day in and day out and knows the idiosyncrasies of each model from each brand? Even if they do have name brands, like Unagi is one of them. They seem to be making themselves available at a lot of these big box stores. That probably is the one I'd go for. I'd probably go for the Segway 9-Bot Max, but you can argue either side. If you're getting a good price and you're buying a Segway 9-Bot Max or an Unagi, you know, it would have to be a big price difference for me because, number one, you want to support the scooter industry. Costco, Walmart, Target, Best Buy, they're doing fine, okay? If you've ever been to one, it's like a traffic jam with your shopping carts. But the scooter industry is just getting up and going. Let's support those guys. If it's a little extra money, buy it from them. That's what I'm saying. Do you want to, risk your life to save a few bucks? You know, if that scooter wasn't properly prepped and you get on it and you go around a corner and oops. The typical big box store employee earns minimum wage, and he's got to sell shoes and shirts and vegetables. So he or she are going to be, putting those scooters in boxes onto an aisle, and they don't know anything about which ones are safer, which ones are faster, whatever is going to fit your use case. They're not going to be giving you good advice. I'm just giving you the information. You make the decision. If you have owned, let's say, a Segway 9-bot Max, you may even have had 2 or 3 of them and you like them, and you're buying one for your spouse or your nephew or niece, and you just want the cheapest one possible, hey, it's tried and true. You know what things can go wrong. You know where the points of failure are. You know what you can get out of that scooter, and you're comfortable buying it from Costco or Target or Best Buy. Go for it. A half an hour has gone by already. I had a couple more topics I wanted to get to, but at least I didn't lie to you. I told you in the beginning the 3 topics, and I hit all 3 of them. But our time is up. It's a half an hour already. 30 minutes of scooter time. So, scooter heads, let me say, until the next episode, please keep the shiny side up and the dirty side down.